So, some Yu-Gi-Oh players just like to watch the world burn, and while I don't always enjoy it, I have to admit I can sort of see the appeal. So, in today's video, I'm sharing what I think are the top 5 troll decks in Yu-Gi-Oh! This is for the player who kind of just doesn't even necessarily want to win, they just want to give their opponent a really hard time. So, these decks, well, they do a good job of it. I don't condone playing them, but you know what? Whatever. Let's have some fun. So, the first deck is Dark Lord Nurse? Reficule Burn. So this has actually been like a Yu-Gi-Oh mainstay for years since this card's release, and it's always the deck you just kind of hate to face randomly, like at a regional, because it's like low-key really scary. What's this girl do? Any effect that would make your opponent gain life points inflicts the same amount of damage to them instead. Simple effect, really, really scary though, because the thing with this card is you already have a bunch of different burn cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! You know, Secret Barrel and just those kinds of things, right? But a lot of the card effects that make your opponent gain life points are scary when your opponent's suddenly losing them. Gift card gives your opponent 3,000 life points. Not anymore. Now they lose 3,000 life points. Gift card, a card that you can literally just activate. If you had 3 of them, that's game right there. And then, you know, you've also got cards like the Paths of Destiny. Both players flip a coin. If you flip heads, you gain 2,000. If you flip tails, you take 2,000. Oh, wait. Nurse is on the field. You take 2,000 no matter what. And, you know, there's also like Try and Guess. And that basically does the same thing. It inflicts 3,000 to your opponent when you've got Nurse Reficule in there. So this deck can kill your opponent fast. Honestly, sometimes even faster than Chain Burn. And I mean, you can like run this with Chain Burn, but I've kind of seen some success with that, but usually you just want to sort of differentiate them. I think that like Dark Lord Nurse Reficule wins over Chain Burn on this list simply because it's kind of got the troll factor of, here, have some life points, JK. So yeah, you know, and what's also like super annoying about this is that this card can finally be searched because it got changed to a Dark Lord card. It used to be Nurse Reficule, the Fallen one. It's now a Dark Lord card, and it can be searched by, I think it's Banishment of the Dark Lord, the spell that just adds one from deck to hand. So this deck suddenly got a lot more consistent. You will actually be seeing her, and that's a problem. So, yeah, but if you want to burn your opponent out and you want to do it in a really fun way, then sure, why not? Next card, or deck rather. Dustins. So I'm putting this on the list because while Dustins have always kind of been an annoying little troll deck, I got destroyed by them on stream the other day, so I figured that they deserve to be on here. It all kind of revolved around this little thing, House Dustin. So all the Dustin monsters, basically the controller of them, they can't be tributed, they can't be used as synchro or Xyz material or anything like that. And that's kind of all they really do. But what you do is you summon House Dustin, and when it gets destroyed by your opponent's card, either battle or a card effect, and sent to the grave, you get to summon any number of Dustin monsters of your choice from your hand or deck to anywhere in the field, but you have to summon an equal amount to each side of the field. So the idea is you get this guy out really early, swing into one of your opponent's monsters, doesn't matter what, and you know, take whatever damage, and then you summon a bunch of Dustins to their side of the field. This clogs up their field so they can't make synchros, they can't make Xyz, and it's really tough to actually get rid of these cards when you can't tribute them or, you know, sync them off. So basically they're just sitting there. Now that wouldn't be so bad, and this deck even has like a boss monster kind of around it. There's Star Dustin, which sends Dustins to the grave and then lets you summon him, and he gains a lot of attack, and that's like one way you can win. But the nastier thing that happened with me is the guy who used this on me made his Dustins into 2 Slacker Magicians, put them in defense, you know, whatever. And then, while I had a bunch of Dustins on the field, he activates Battle Mania. Battle Mania is a trap that makes all your opponent's monsters attack. And so, Dustins have 0 attack. I had to attack into Slacker Magicians, and because it summoned 4 with House Dustin's effects, that's my ass. So, Dustins are really fun, they're really trolly. I mean, you know, obviously this deck is beatable. Your opponent can board wipe themselves, things like that. It's maybe not the most consistent thing, but golly, when it actually resolves, it does dumb annoying stuff. So, yeah, that makes the next spot on this list. Then we've got Ghost Tricks. A deck that, you know, honestly, I don't hate Ghost Tricks. I've just always said about them that they never really feel like they're trying to beat you. it really does feel like they're just trying to troll you. And I guess that sort of fits with the theme. There are a bunch of like ghosts who are actually like technically more scared of like the world than the world is of them. You know, they're having Halloween or whatever. All the ghost tricks just focus on like flipping themselves face down and your opponent's monsters face down. And they've got like, what is it, Ghost Trick Mansion, where your opponent can't attack set monsters, but they can attack directly, but then the damage gets halved. And then they've got a bunch of monsters that summon themselves when your opponent's attacking, like, you know, Ghost Trick Jack Frost, where it can like summon itself and then change an opponent's monsters face down. And, you know, it's one of those decks where it can win. I mean, they're actually like Ghost Trick mill strategies and stuff like that with, I think, Ghost Trick Skeleton. But honestly and truly, it just... it's just really annoying. I mean, you know, and they have like Xyz monsters. They actually, if they can make, what is it, Ghost Trick Angel of Wisdom, I believe is what it's called. They actually, if it can attach enough materials to itself, you can like automatically win the duel with her. But that doesn't, Angel of Mischief, why did I say Wisdom? But really and truly, Ghost Tricks just are a way to annoy your opponent. It slows the pace of the duel down to a crawl, and believe it or not, they can like plus their way through it. I mean, like they've got Ghost Trick Yangshi, which like searches a Ghost Trick every single turn, and you just get to like, you know, continue to do that and continue to summon these things, and it really can get annoying. I actually played one online that used freaking like Jar of Avarice or something and shuffled them all back. Your opponent will like never beat you, at least not for a really long time, and maybe you'll never beat your opponent, but you know, don't be surprised. They can still make like rank 1 Xyz and little things like that. So it's a deceptive deck. It's a trolly one, but I actually really like it. And I feel like despite not enjoying facing it all the time, it deserved a spot on the list. The next one's, people don't like it. Psyframes. So it's actually being used as an engine kind of in competition sometimes lately. But the Psyframe deck, when it came out, was sort of the target of a lot of hatred. You know, that's the nicest way I can put it, really. Psyframes basically they revolve around not having monsters on their side of the field, and some would say not playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Basically, if you don't have monsters on your field, whenever your opponent activates anything, a spell, a trap, a monster effect, even summons something, or declares an attack, there's a Psyframe for it that you can summon from your hand, negate the activation, destroy the card, and you also can summon a Psyframe driver from your deck. Both monsters get banished in the end phase, but if you have the Psyframe Circuit field spell up, then you're actually able to immediately make a synchro monster with both of those. This results in Psyframe Lord Zeta or Psyframe Lord Omega, which, you know, Omega is infamous in other like loops and crazy combos, but in this deck it's actually especially annoying because it just keeps your opponent's like monsters and stuff out of their hand or off the field, and also clears your field up so you can continue to use your Psyframes. They've also got, you know, Psyframe Accelerator and Psyframe Overload, like, you know, that can allow you to banish cards from your opponent's hand face down. It's kind of deadly. So yeah, all in all, the Psyframe deck, it's super annoying. It can actually use several different psychic support cards. I think, what is it, Psychic Path and things like that. Those all come to mind. I built the deck and played it, and then people won't like you for playing it, so you can probably guess why I stopped doing it. And if you want to be especially nasty in this deck, you can actually take a copy of Final Countdown in here. Because what Psyframes sort of make you do, or rather your opponent, is they just slow them down. Whenever your opponent tries to activate things, you stop them, and then you just sort of continue to not really attack or do much. So your turns don't really involve any summons, but your opponent's turns always get cut off. If you take a copy of Final Countdown in here, 20 turns comes rather quickly when your opponent can't do anything. So while I know people don't like this deck, this is a Troll Decks video, so it's definitely worth a try. Only problem is, it can be a bit pricey with Omega. Oh wait, Battles of Legend Light's Revenge. So yeah. And the last deck on this list, and the one that's actually probably seen the most competitive play as of late, Barrier Statue Stun. I remember as a kid, I never really understood the barrier statues. Like, I mean, I totally got what they did and why that might be useful, but they're just so weak. They have 1,000 attack and defense, so they'll just die. But what people have done now is actually run barrier statues with, you know, card demise and a bunch of just the nastiest floodgate spells and traps you can think of, and like maybe Fossil Diner and stuff like that. And you just pick whatever barrier statue you want, preferably whatever attribute isn't being summoned the most in the metagame right now, and you just summon your barrier statue, set a bunch of traps, and sit and watch your opponent squirm. What's especially deadly is when you combine this with Moon Mirror Shield, which gives your opponent, or basically gives your monster the ability to never be swung over in battle because it'll always gain attack points. 100 more than whatever it's battling with. This gets annoying fast. Can you imagine these monsters that don't let you summon anything, and then a bunch of traps and spells that just stop it all? I just think like this deck it's really obnoxious, but it wins. It actually has taken lots of regional spots, lots of regional tops, gotten invites. So if you're feeling mean, you know, any of these 5 decks in this list are actually really great. So like I said, you know, everybody plays Yu-Gi-Oh! For different reasons. Some people get their joy out of watching their opponent squirm. So if you are, then hopefully this video helped you out and maybe gave you a deck idea or two. If you have a friend who likes this kind of thing, maybe you can share it with them. That's going to be it for the video. Hope you guys liked it. Leave some more suggestions for nasty troll decks in the video description or comments. Check out the video description for a way to win a Team APS shirt. Pretty awesome, yes. If you want to support me, that's a great way to do it. You can also follow me on Facebook. You can follow me on Twitter. And I'm giving away a box of Battles of Legend Light's Revenge. Get that Omega, huh? Enter that giveaway through the link in the description as well. It's provided by TCG Player. It's going to be it. So I will catch you guys in the next one. Later.